Hi, everybody. This is Pat at Dancing Moon Travel. Welcome. And if you are watching us on a replay, welcome to you as well. I just so glad you could join us this evening. And I want to start the evening by just telling everybody that we are starting something new beginning tonight. We are going to start doing a monthly drawing. So we're doing one for July for everybody who tunes in. So you want to watch till the end, because at the end of this, I am going to give you a chance to enter a comment, a special code into the comments section. And when you enter that code, you'll be entered in the drawing. And you know, at Dancing Moon, we don't give away junk. So we're going to be offering, we've got this 5-piece packing cubes. They're high quality. You may have seen them online. So that is part of our package. And that's not all, folks. You also will get a his and hers leather customized passport cover. So that's our prize for the month of July. We'll have that after the end of July. And so you want to make sure to hang on into the end and get your name in the drawing. If you watch every week, you can get a new entry every week. So stay tuned. And this is really high quality merchandise, and you will want your name in the hat for this drawing. Now, on with our show. And I am so glad to welcome this evening our friend from iWorld Travel. This is Alida Paljevic. And Alida, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we will be so glad to learn more about you and about iWorld of Travel and about what all you guys bring to the marketplace and offer to travelers. Let's just start by letting our listeners get a little bit acquainted with you. You're now with iWorld of Travel, but what's your background in Alida in the travel industry?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank you, Pat, for giving us this opportunity to present me and to present iWorld of Travel as a partner for travel agents. And I want to say welcome to all of you that are tuning in with us tonight. Thank you for being here and listening to us chatting about travel. And yes, to say a little bit about me, I am from Croatia. Both of my parents are Croatian, but I was born and raised in Italy, where I lived until the age of 10. And then we moved back to Croatia, and from then on, we lived in the island of Hvar, which is also one of the most famous destinations in Croatia, and that is exactly why the reason I ended up in the travel industry, because there was not so many choices of schools in the island, and I wanted to study languages.
Oh, very good. And we're delighted now to turn to. We've got a few people turning out. Cheryl. You saw the video, so you saw our prizes, and hi Kathy, Cheryl, we're glad you're here, and keep the comments coming. We will try to answer as we go along. What about iWorld now, Alida? What can you give us just a brief overview of what their approach is and what kind of options iWorld offers for travelers?
Absolutely. So first of all, the company has been in the market for over 50 years. And iWorld is a strictly B2B company. So that means that we work only with travel agents. So you cannot book directly with us, even if you would want to. We do not accept that, as we work exclusively with travel agents like Pat with Dancing Moon Travel. And what we provide is really services all around and over the world. Our main business, our larger part of the business, is customized travel. So when we literally craft a program according to the wishes and desires of a client. So, if you would do anything like that for literally anywhere in the world, please tell Pat as much as you can about the things that you want and expect, because our specialty is really to create something special, something that is crafted exactly for you. So whether if you love food or you love wine or you love adventure or you have architecture interests or art interests, we will make the in a way that you will have a lot of that that you like the most, that makes you the most happy. And of course, there is many sub things that we do. We do a lot of family travel. We do a lot of closed groups, small groups, some faith travel, which is also always has been an important part of the company, both Christian and Jewish heritage tours is our specialty. Also closed groups with special interests like cycling, hiking, adventure. We are really able to craft many different options and many different itineraries.
And I love that, because I think that the key to doing a trip for people is to really get the customized aspect for it. And I love that you guys really specialize in that customization. So it's geared to the client's specific interests and passion.
It is very, very important to us to hit that sweet spot that the clients get exactly what they want. I like to ask them why you chose this destination, because in that way, most of the time we get the answers that will give us the direction where what they want and what they expect from that trip to a specific destination.
Right. Now, you guys really do cover the whole planet pretty much. So it's
Pretty
no
much.
way we can cover all of that. So I thought tonight we're going to try to focus on just a couple of things, maybe Croatia for sure. Touch just a little bit on the Maltese Islands, and kind of wind up with your something that really fascinates me. You had these small group luxury departures as well, and I think those have really broad appeal. So we're going to kind of take that approach. And just for those who may have forgotten your geography a little bit, of what's, where in the world are we talking about when we talk about Croatia? And so, whoops, here's the image here. Yeah, there's Croatia, gives you a little overview of what it looks like. It's not a huge, huge
It's not.
country, but
It's
it
not
has.
not big, but it's very interesting. If you say that little island there with named Hvar, that is where my parents still live, and that is where I kind of grew up there.
Great. And it's kind of right across from Italy,
Yes.
kind of right there in the Mediterranean. And so I just thought we would kind of touch on, uh, what kind of travelers, who would be a good fit. You mentioned a few people. Who would you recommend? People might not know if they're a good fit for this destination.
For
So
Croatia.
you mentioned
Mhm.
adventures. Why? What are some of the?
Well, if we talk about Croatia, really, I feel like everyone can find something for themselves. And with our specialty of kind of creating the programs, according to the traveler's wishes, it's very easy. But, Croatia is a small country, but it has different regions, like the southern parts and Dalmatia were under the Venice Republic ages ago, and there was influences from the Roman Empire, and even earlier on from the Greeks. But if you go on the northern part of the country, it was part of the Ungro-Austria Empire, the zone around Zagreb. You will feel even in the language a lot of differences. You will have German words in Zagreb dialect, but Italian ones in the southern parts of Croatia, which also reflects, on the things that you can do and also on the scenery. It's very, very different. So Croatia really can offer a lot for people who like heritage and history. We have a lot of UNESCO World Heritage sites. We have beautiful nature, we have 1,400 islands in the Adriatic coast. So any activities, that include any water sports, diving, sailing, relaxing on the beach and exploring the little towns, all of that is very, very available and possible. And then you have also different options depending on the season. If you go in the fall and you're a wine lover, we can make exquisite wine tours with wine tastings and olive oil. We have truffles in Istria. I mean, really, whether you want it in a slow pace or you want to kind of see all the different regions, there is no limits in Croatia. I do feel that even the most adventurous ones and those who likes it really slow and easy are a good fit for Croatia. It all depends on how the program is put together for them.
Okay, and I love that. I love that you can take a foodie and put them, make sure that they get to the very best restaurants and have that immersive cultural dining experience wherever they go, whatever cities they visit, because you have that expertise to really put people, those destinations.
I do, all personally.
You personally, you know them for sure. What about what are some of the must see sites that you would make sure that most anybody should see when they visit Croatia?
For the first time. Yes. There are a couple of places that have become really popular, like the city of Dubrovnik, that got a lot of exposure through a lot of movies that were made there, and the very famous Game of Thrones. But it was always a hot spot in Croatia, and it always is. Dubrovnik is kind of on the southernmost point of Croatia. So it's always a good point either to start or end. It's almost impossible to have it somewhere in the middle of the tour. So definitely Dubrovnik. I would say the island of Hvar, because it's really something special, and I would say go beyond than just the town of Hvar where everybody goes. There are 3 other cities on the island that are a little bit off the beaten path, where you can really have that immersion much deeper than in Hvar, which is often, well, at least pre-COVID, with a lot of. And then there is Split, and there is the National Park Plitvice Lakes, which I think it's a must-see. It's 16 lakes that are connected with waterfalls. And of course, it's a UNESCO World Natural Site. And it's a very, very special place. We have amazing accommodation that is inside the park. And to wake up in that place is something that I absolutely recommend. And then you have a bunch of nice properties that are around it, and even in the more northern parts of Croatia, in Istria, where you can have, it's the peninsula here right next to Slovenia, which is often called as the Tuscany of Croatia. Especially the inlands there are many hills, and it kind of looks a little bit like Tuscany, but the main reason is because there is a heavy Italian influence. Even the dialect here sounds much more like Italian than Croatian. In the food, here you have the truffles, the olive oil, the cuisine there is probably one of the best in the world.
Worth making the trip just for the food, it sounds like.
And then, you have the capital, the city of Zagreb, which is often kind of underrated and forgotten, which is the city that has the highest number of museums per person in Europe. I mean, per capita, per inhabitant. So it's very interesting, vibrant. Often they call it like Little Vienna. It has that Central European vibe, especially in the Christmas season. It was voted as best Christmas market destination for 3 years in a row of all of Europe. But you will you will not see many travelers, especially not from the US, that will go to Croatia in the winter, which is a completely different experience. Even if you go south to Dubrovnik and Split, it's different.
We're moving right into my next question here, which is, what would you advise? What's the best season, the best time to travel in Croatia? What can a person expect as far as weather goes?
So I will tell you like this. So my favorite time for the coastline is June and September, because as you know, the whole of Europe has off time in July and August, and that's the time when the most of Europeans will come down to Croatia, in the same way like the Americans will go to Mexico and the Caribbean for a week of beach vacation. That's how Europeans come to Croatia most of the time. So you want to avoid that period if possible. And June and September are ideal for the sailing, for the beaches, for all the islands and all of that southern feel. The same would go for Istria, the peninsula that I mentioned that is called the Croatia's Tuscany. But for the inlands and for the capital city of Zagreb and the eastern part of Croatia, which is wine country, the fall is very nice, even early spring when everything is in flower. So it kind of depends from the traveler what they want. If they want to swim in the sea, then they have to go in August or September.
Okay.
But if they're more about culture and exploring, then it's better to choose a month when it's out of the peak season. For example, I will speak a little bit later about the tours, the small luxury tours that we are doing for Croatia. We're having them in April and May, and then in late September and October. The weather is still nice. It is warm, but it's not hot. So it kind of all depends of the program, what the client wants, but Croatia is a year-round destination, definitely.
Wonderful. Cheryl is telling me she would love to see the water, and she always loves good food. Don't we all, Cheryl?
Yes, we do.
The good food, I will follow it anywhere. So I wanted to talk, one of I know you have some suggested itineraries posted, and one of them that I found really appealing was this Jewels of Italy, Croatia, and Slovenia.
It starts from Venice, yes.
Yes, and tell us a little bit more. I have some really good images that we uploaded here with just so.
Yes, that one is really convenient because it puts together, a little bit of Italy, Venice, and then Slovenia. The itinerary goes on to Slovenia, and from Ljubljana it goes back to
Say that for me again. Ljubljana. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. It's a beautiful city.
And here would be an image of that.
Exactly. See, there is the Ljubljanica river that goes through the city. There are also boat tours available on that river. And I mean, the whole city tour is done in a few hours. There is a beautiful castle on top of the mountain where we usually take the guests with a cable car. And the view from up there is really, really something special. I haven't been to Ljubljana for a couple of years, honestly, and my friends are telling me that it's becoming more and more beautiful, and there is more and more nice boutique-style hotels that are emerging. And we really like to choose the smaller properties when we put out a program. And a lot of heritage as well in the whole of Slovenia. The thing is about this itinerary that that's really just an itinerary idea, one of the many possibilities. It is convenient because flights to Venice are a little easier to find than to Croatia, at least not direct flights.
Right.
Croatia had a connection before the COVID-19 crisis directly from with American Airlines from Philadelphia to Dubrovnik, but unfortunately that was all canceled, and who knows when is that coming back.
Right.
So Venice is a good option because it is really close. From Venice to get to Istria, the peninsula in the northern coastline, is about less than 2 hours.
Okay. So say our client arrives in Venice, and what would there be expectation? Do they have transfers and
Yes.
meals? What kind of?
So most of the times, it always depends on the client and what they want. But uh, our modus operandi most of the time will be in the way where an English-speaking driver will wait for them at the airport, and they will have private services transfers to their accommodation that we choose together. And then it depends on them. Most of the people like to have that first day at leisure. So if we have a service on the first day, it's either a night sightseeing or it's a dinner somewhere special or something like that. The actual, tour and the sightseeing normally will start on the second day. So if we talk about Venice, if they arrive the first day, they will rest. We choose a hotel normally which is in the old city, normally very close to the Piazza San Marco. And from there, they can go on their own and explore the first night or have a dinner, depending on what they want. And the second day in the morning, a local expert guide will come pick them up from their hotel. And from there, they will have a walking tour, visiting all the main attractions. And of course, as I said, we craft always the itinerary according to their own wishes. If they want to go extra and visit Murano and Burano, that's something that I personally always recommend because it's beautiful. So they have the basic Venice. We can have 1 or 2 overnights, and then they start the Slovenia-Croatia tour. As I said, this is an idea, the itinerary that you spoke about. We can go to Postojna, which is the longest crust caves in Central Eastern Europe. It's a gorgeous experience to have. Half of the tour is done with an electric train through the caves. And the other half is a walking tour. There is an endemic species in the cave, which is called human fish. It's a very funny looking fish that lives inside the waters of the cave. And then from there onto Ljubljana, Lake Bled, one of the most popular destinations in Slovenia as well. And from there, often people can go either to Zagreb or directly to the Plitvice Lakes, the national park, and then down to Split, which is shown on the picture right now, which is a 1700 years old city that was built.
Wow.
Yes, it was literally built around the palace of Roman Emperor Diocletian.
And Cheryl, I know you're watching, and I know you're going to love this. You're going to see that old building there that that's right up your alley there. You're going to want to go inside and check that out.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and you can actually go inside of the old cellars of the palace. It is very well preserved. There is a lot of interesting information that you can learn there about the Roman Empire and how they decided this was his summer house. Roman Emperor Diocletian. He chose that spot for his summer house. So
And that's the one that's in this picture here.
we often joke in Croatia that we have tourism dating back to the Roman times, and it is
Still, and people are still coming.
yes.
And so you most that tour would end, and here's a very famous image. You see this.
And from Split, that tour goes to Dubrovnik, which is also very, very well connected, always was. I hope it will be again in the future with all the European hubs. So it's really easy to fly out of Dubrovnik as well. But this itinerary is great because you get to see a glimpse of everything. But I personally always, especially if people like the country and if they come for a second time, then we have a bunch of options that are more immersion. Like one of the programs that we are having for the luxury small groups is 4 nights in Dubrovnik, and then from Dubrovnik you're able to go on a day tour to Montenegro, which is a very small country, so in a day you can see quite a bit, the most beautiful parts.
Here
And
you have up here, you can see.
it's right there. It's you get there within less than 2 hours. Transfer from Dubrovnik, as well a trip to Bosnia and Herzegovina to there is a famous town of Mostar with the bridge that was unfortunately torn down in the war in the 90s, but it's completely renovated and it's stunning. And then there is the Pelješac area, there is the oyster production, there is winemaking, there is so much tradition.
To see such a rich destination.
Yes, there is really a lot. I mean, every island is a world for itself. They are similar in some ways, but starting from the food that they have as traditional meals, the language, the dialects, every island is a world for itself. You may imagine back in the day and back in the centuries, there was no ferries between the islands and the mainland. So of course, everyone developed a very specific culture. So Croatia is very colorful. There is many different aspects and things to discover and learn.
Excellent. Well, I feel our time just goes so fast. Alida, I want to make sure I'm going to just skip over Malta. We can talk about that another time.
Next
But
time, okay.
I want to
I'm
do.
sorry.
I do. No. This is great. This is very, very good. And but I do want to touch on those luxury small groups. Tell us more about those. How many people and what is a typical journey length and so forth. Just give us a quick overview
Yeah.
because I think our clients would love to know more about that.
So very, very generally speaking, we are doing the luxury small group departures literally all over the world. So for Croatia and the neighboring countries, we are going to have 3 different tours. And let's use that as an example. We are placing the dates of the departures in a way where you can have a week, and when the tour 1 ends, tour 2 starts. So if you want to have 2 in a row in 2 weeks, you can, and you get a price deal for that. So we are doing that all over the world. It's a maximum of 14 passengers.
Lovely.
It's very, very intimate. We choose wherever we can, boutique styles, smaller hotels that are in the center within walking distance to nice areas. Of course, there are some exceptions, like if we are in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica, of course, we are not in the center, but you know what I mean. Whenever we are in a city or in a town, we have a central location. We always have a locally sourced professional tour manager that is with them the whole time. We vet those people really, really thoroughly, and we educate them. We train them how to lead our small group departures. And we always look, for the people who have that factor, that charisma and the passion and love for their countries, because we feel that only a local with love for their country can really give to the travelers what they want to have, get to know that place.
Right.
And we're I'm sorry, just let me just finish. We're trying to balance the main attractions with some off the beaten path visits to places that you will not find in regular itineraries from other tour operators, because we are really trying to create something unique, and we are always trying to have at least 2 overnights in one place, so you don't have to move every single day. And we are always trying to keep enough free time so that the people can actually go and do whatever they want to do in a certain place. So that's the main idea. And we are trying to have that something. Let me give you a couple of examples. In Portugal, we have an overnight, which is in a hotel that has rooms, luxury rooms, placed in the middle of a vineyard that are in the shape of wine barrels. So basically, you're sleeping in a wine barrel in the middle of a vineyard in the Douro Valley in Portugal, which is a wine region, Then let me think, in Costa Rica, we have this day with a craftsman and his family, and we are preparing a meal on a wooden powered kitchen, very, very old school. After we learn how to do the masquerades, which is a very special tradition of making masks in Costa Rica. Then in Croatia, for example, for the program that we have, the immersion one for Southern Dalmatia, they will take part in something that is called canota for the end of the harvest season of the grapes, which the local communities organize. And it's something that no travelers have seen before. So we are trying to add something more. Our tagline and motto is do more, expect more. And we expect more from ourselves, and we want to provide more to our travelers, so they really experience the destination in the best way it's possible.
I love that you build in that free time. You give people a balance. Some people do the all-inclusive route, and you guys choose to not be not provide every meal, because people should be out exploring something on their own, making their own choices about where they want to eat and what shopping and what they want to visit. So I love the balance that you offer with your tours here. I have a question here. Cheryl wants to see and do it all, and I know Cheryl is so into, she always does. Kathy wants to know, does this what about single supplements with your groups?
Yes, so single supplements are there, but we can always combine and work on it depending on the number of passengers that we have already booked. So first of all, we are not having huge single supplements like many have. And wherever we can, we try to eliminate them completely. Sometimes it's very hard, as Pat knows, many of the hotels will charge the room the same amount of money, no matter if it's one or two people there. So that's the reason why sometimes we do have to have it. But I promise you, we will always try to make it disappear if we can.
Okay, so as reasonable as you possibly can make it. I love that. That even with that, you're still trying to work with people and customize that element as well. Another question that I wanted to just throw in here, since it's top of mind for so many. How's Croatia doing with the COVID crisis? What are they looking at? Are they going to open up?
Yes. So long story short, Croatia did really, really well in the first wave. If you know, there are we calling it that way now? First wave and second wave. I'm not sure, but yes, Croatia did really, really well. They kept it under control, and they opened up. Croatia is open for tourists and even for tourists from the U.S. The only requirement is to have a negative COVID-19 test that is not older than 48 hours. And you have to show a proof of booking, whether it's a hotel or a tour or anything. You need to show that you're there for tourism and that you have prepaid your vacation in Croatia. That's all that they require.
Or whatever we do it.
Croatia is the only European country right now who is welcoming travelers from the US.
That is a wonderful thing to be able to tell some people that there's some place on the planet that they can go, on the European continent anyway.
I don't believe that many people will go.
No.
But you know, there are a lot of Croatians in the US, like third, fourth generation people. And they always travel back to Croatia for the summer. So I think that was the main motivation. And, you know, Croatia and the United States always had really good relationships. So I was really not surprised to see that happen, honestly.
So that is, I really appreciate that update, and hopefully we're going to get this behind us. I don't know. Every time I feel a little hope, it comes along and something.
I know.
It's really hard, but
it's very hard.
Top of mind. So I wanted to make sure that we covered it. Is there anything that absolutely that we've missed that our audience should know and needs to know before we close? Anything I've left out on these questions?
Well, if I can say something, I would like to say to everybody who is listening to us that I have been working with a lot of travel agents through this tough times, and I must say that Pat is really an amazing energy, positive energy, that she loves to travel, she loves to make you guys happy, and to me that's motivation to be even better. So I hope that you guys will dream with us about travel, and hopefully soon we're gonna start booking. Maybe one important thing to tell you guys, we are charging only $18 per person to book any booking with us.
Wow.
Yes, and it is fully refundable up to 90 days prior to the departure. So if you want to secure something for next year, you can have it down for $18. And then 90 days before, 3 months before your departure date, $482. So in total, it makes $500. And in that moment is no longer refundable in cash, but all the way up to 30 days before departure, that deposit can be canceled and transferred to any other destination or any other date. If you know something happens, so COVID or whatever can happen nowadays, you will still not lose the deposit.
So people can have confidence and security in their booking. Thank you so much, Alida. I really appreciate it. I hope our audience, I hope you guys have now added Croatia and this beautiful area of our world to your bucket list. If not, you really need to think about doing that. But I really appreciate your time, and audience, I told you guys that I was going to give you a code word for that prize drawing. So in the next 5 minutes, you need to enter the words iWorld rocks. 2 words. iWorld, 1 word, rocks, 2nd word, in the comment box. And that's all you need to do in order to get 1 entry into our July drawing. And you do not want to miss next week, folks. We're going to be back again. We're changing our time, so keep your eye posted for that. We're looking to do 1 p.m. on Tuesdays going forward. And next week, Kevin and I are going to be talking. He's coming back since we changed our time. He's in, as most of you know, he's in Dublin, where he lives now. So he'll be back joining us and manning the technology. And we're going to be having a conversation talking about Ireland and sharing some of our personal favorite trips that we've enjoyed in the past. And so it's just going to be us, and we're going to look forward to sharing some of that. And we want to be very interactive. So everybody, hope you'll be listening for next week, because we really want to have a lot of interaction with our listeners. So thanks again, Alida.
Thank you, Pat. It was a pleasure.
Okay, and we'll be in touch because you have a whole lot of world you cover, and we will want to hear more from iWorld of Travel down the line.
It will be our pleasure.
Okay, so guys, don't forget to get your iWorld rocks entered in the comment box now, so you get entered in our drawing for those fabulous prizes. So
good luck, guys.
Okay, thanks again, everybody.
Thank you so much.